Greetings, Jah people. There's a very important topic I gotta speak about. I just got away from the lab. I'm happy to be out and about in nature and to be able to breathe in prana like I should. Now, there's a very important, very common disease that's going on out here. And we are getting older and older, and there's gonna be some more ailments that's happening as we grow older. So this is so common when it comes to our wrists, when it comes to our ankles, when it comes to our clavicle, our shoulders, our knees, mainly our knees. And we get arthritis. We get arthritis in our hands. People, there's a lot we can do when it comes to this. We have to, I stress it enough that we have to feed our cells the right nutrients. That is the only way that we can regenerate. And we have to get away from the sedentary lifestyle that people are sitting at their desk all day, don't do any type of exercise, when you can be sitting on a bicycle and riding a bike and keeping your knee chakras engaged. Now, on a metaphysical level, we should not even be standing upright. We should always keep a slight bend in our knees to keep them engaged. That way ligaments don't get torn, they don't get worn from gravity every single day, and you can actually keep a better circulation being that they are engaged. Now, our people we are getting to the age of 40 and we start to hear these noises as we're popping and cracking as we're walking and stuff, and that's an indication that some type of osteo meaning bone arthritis is starting to happen. We're getting inflammation inside of our joints. We can beat this. We can beat this by exercise. We can beat this by feeding it the right nutrients. And we are lacking it, guys. There's some things that you may need to know about the anatomy, the physiology, and I will get a chance to go over that on the dry eraser board. But for now, I want to talk about a specific herb and the compound that I've came up with to combat this type of disease. There's no such thing as wear and tear. For one thing, the Most High has designed this magnificent temple not for us to wear and tear. This is supposed to last for us for a lifetime. So our ligaments, our tendons, our cartilage, all of those things can become torn, but we have to be able to understand the science of it first. That way we can regenerate it. So first of all, you must know that bone, connective tissues like cartilage and ligaments and tendons and all those type of things are made out of collagen. What is collagen? Collagen is a three-dimensional helix of amino acids, a long chain of peptide bonds. So if you watch the last video talking about protein, you will understand how these structures actually designed by proline, glycine, and hydroxyproline. And there are other precursors within those three different amino acids. For one thing, proline and lysine together is the building block for the production of collagen. So we must know, in order to rebuild our bones, our ligaments, and all these type of stabilizing structures, we have the SI joint for a reason, has a fibrous joint inside of it that needs to stay connected in a helix so that it does not lose its stabilization. That's inside of our hip. So when women past the age of 40 and going through what they call menopause, and they're more susceptible to osteoporosis because of the looseness of those fibrous joints. So we can connect those back again. We can stabilize once again. Even our knees, for those who have, even the weather can have an effect on our joints. So cold or either too hot or something like that, they do have these different effects to it because inflammation in those joints, and that inflammation is starting to release certain cytokines out into the synovium, which is synovium is basically the fluid that surrounds the ligaments. So when we understand the science of it, we can easily fix it. What fixes it? How do we regenerate our cartilage? What I found in studies that there are particular herbs, specific herbs that can regenerate this type of tissue. But it takes a little while. Now all of our organs, all of our tissues regenerate, and usually collagen takes about 6 weeks to fully regenerate, depending on your age. Now some of us don't produce as much collagen as we should. Now there are certain enzyme factors that allow things to increase, and certain enzymes that allow things to decrease. MMPs are one of the things that grows your cartilage, especially inside of your knees. I will get deeper into the video. So specific herbs, how do we do it? Don't feed it any type of anti-inflammatory foods at all. So that means no processed foods, no coffee. Keep yourself on an alkaline level. No acidity will build up the cartilage in your joints. So specific herbs, let me get into the herbs before we go to the lab. One particular herb that I don't like to tell everybody about because it does come from an animal, but being that I'm a vegan, I don't partake in any of the slaughter of any animals. If they lose something, then it is natural, it is of earth, and it can be as bioavailable. So I found something very unique in TCM, which is traditional Chinese medicine, and they actually manufacture a way to grow proteoglycans. Proteoglycans are the glue that sticks to the cartilage of our articular cartilage in our knees. This glue is made from what they call deer antler velvet herb. Yes, it comes from a deer, but every season, whether it's spring, fall, summer, those deers are running out there in the woods, and their antlers get caught on some type of limb or a tree or bark or something, and it falls off. It falls off, and that deer automatically regrows it back. So what those antlers have inside of it, it has glucosamine in it, it has chondroitin sulfates inside of it, and it also have proteoglycans inside of it. That is very, very awesome. That is the greatest thing ever that I've found to help people restore their stabilizing the joints and articular cartilage. This is how we rebuild it without actually having to eat an animal, because we are animals. We make this ourselves. We make those type of molecules ourselves to rebuild our collagen. Another particular herb is Solomon seal, which is a plant out of Asia that grows and helps restore and actually takes away the inflammation so that those cells can get in there through the synovial fluid. Because I want you to know, this is a big key information right here, because none of our blood cells, none of our blood vessels ever touches our cartilage, ever. This is a matrix of bone, of cartilage that are mixed together, that does not need blood at all. So these ligaments don't need blood to give it its nutrients. What it does is the synovium, the outer lining, has vessels in it so that it can get through the fluid to build up the cartilage. So I think I'm going to go ahead and show you guys at the lab the structure and draw it out for you so that you can see the anatomy and the physiology of it, and then we can get into more of the foods and things, how you can protect yourself and regrow your knee. Yes, job people. That was a very beautiful lake that we just visited. Nice little locations out here. Very serene, very mystical and divine winds that was just flowing around in that mystical place. I like going out there. That's one of my meditational braces. But further on, what we need to get ready to talk about is these joints, these synovial joints. So let's talk about it. I missed out on something that I was supposed to talk about, because I see our young boys and they're not developing as they should when it comes to their bone structure. So if you notice that your child shoe may be leaning to the side or leaning to the right or to the left, or his arch may be falling and is turning to be flat-footed or something, then he may be getting knock-kneed or becoming bow-legged or pigeon-toed or those things. These are early indications, early signs that this person, when they get older, they will have some joint issues. Now, we've been talking about synovial joints. Synovial joints have a synovium around it, and basically that is the lining behind or under the ligament. And inside of that synovium is fluid that acts to nourish, and it really nourishes this articular cartilage area. And inside of this fluid, when there's a person that is going through something like rheumatoid arthritis, and rheumatoid arthritis is basically a dietary imbalance. It's not really a disease. It's just these fluids are becoming inflamed, and the foods that you're eating is not really assimilating well with all of your joints. It's creating too much uric acid, and you have to suffer through inflammation. Now, this is the articular cartilage, and it is a connecting tissue which is pretty much everywhere around in our body. But this is a special cartilage that contains collagen fibers, elastin fibers, and proteoglycans. It gives us this wide range of movement from our tibia bone and our femur bone. And on top of this cartilage lays a patella. And patella is just a fancy name for kneecap. And I just told you guys about this cracking and popping, and when we're walking and we don't understand where this noise is coming from, sometimes it comes from that patella, that kneecap. And because there's a space in between this cartilage that has become wear and tear. So sometimes that wear and tear can leave a debris. And in that debris, or what they call cartilage mice, it leaks out into the fluid areas, and there it can cause maybe extra grinding, or you can hear noise, and it can cause little damages like bone spurs to start to appear if you don't start to handle, and the nutrients are not able to absorb it. Now, how does these things become absorbed? Absorption happens from macrophages from inside of the synovial fluid, and we have what we call proteoglycans. Proteoglycans is there to help us absorb and resorb. They bind molecules like calcium and phosphorus from the bloodstream, and it gives it to the chondrocytes. Now, the chondrocytes is basically responsible for the producing of the extracellular matrix. When someone says extracellular matrix, you need to understand that our bone is like a maze of all of these different layers, and the way that it exchanges its nutrients is through diffusion, by being compacted upon each other and grabbing each other's nutrients through cells called chondrocytes. Now, I laid all that down so that you can understand what they call bone metabolism is when these grinding of your bones, when someone has osteoarthritis, they are sending out other bone cells that help to produce collagen, because we know that our bones are made out of collagen. And they send out these cells called osteoclasts. And they sit on the resting bone of our tibia. Our tibia is right there, below our kneecap. And they sit there. And they send out to places where it needs to be remodeled. Certain places have become damaged, so they send out these cells called osteoclasts. And these green cells are going to represent our osteoclasts. And everything has an enzyme relationship. So in order for this to happen, it has to have an enzyme to be able to give it the ability to break down. Basically, osteoclast starts to break down and get ready to remodel. It sends more cells out to get remodeled. So they sit here into this resting bone and activates enzymes called ADAMs. And there's a family of different enzymes like this synergen and metalloproteinase. That's one of the different enzymes. And it resorbs and it completes it, then detaches away from the bone. And then it tells the other cells called osteoblasts to come in and attach to rebuild. Osteoblasts are cells that build up collagen, and they are there to reform and differentiate the different bones that need to be repaired. And that whole cycle goes on and on and on throughout the rest of our life because it's called bone metabolism or bone remodeling. This cartilage that gets wear and tear, what about this layer here? Now, some of our sports players are really getting torn and have something they call ACL. They tear the ACL, which sits in the middle of the cartilage, articular cartilage, and the meniscus. Sometimes this area gets really, really swollen. And it's probably the cause of like when the front kneecap or the front patella is swollen, it's probably because of a torn meniscus in that area. We have, all these different ways to repair ourselves. Why not do it the natural way by walking with a slight bend in our knees? That is the most natural way to repair and keep our knee chakras, or basically our articular cartilage, engaged so that it can receive its nutrient. We're walking upright, we're not really engaging and taking a longer time to circulate from the bottom of our feet to bring it back up to our heart. And this is making poor circulation. Our pounds that we carry every single day, we're walking miles, if we do walk miles per day, and it's becoming heavier and heavier as gravity is pulling on and damaging our articular cartilage and our meniscus. So that's all I pretty needed to say when it comes to our bones and our joints.